Welcome back to Restaurant Review. I'm your host, Bob Bockelman. I want to apologize for the hiatus. You've been watching a lot of our reruns. Unfortunately, I've had some medical problems, but I'm trying to get back into pink. You'll hear my voice is still not up to par, but anyway, we're ready to go back and do what we do best. Here on Channel 77 on Saturdays from 3 to 4, it's Restaurant Review. Our website, www.restrevue.com, R-E-S-T-R-E-V-U-E. Let us know anything you want to know about the show, be here, or see a musical guest, contact that website. For those who've never seen us, our specialty is to debut new restaurants and their chefs and new musical guests. And we're back again, ready to do that for you. One of our restaurants is a long-standing restaurant that has totally been changed by the new owners and new chefs, and so we're anxious to bring them to you. And we're going to go ahead and take our usual stroll to the back to meet our musical guests for the day. Follow me. Okay, we're welcome. This is Doug CHEETWOOD, to Restaurant Review. Okay, Doug. Doug is from, been with us for about a year. Where do you come from, man?
I'm originally from Virginia.
Virginia, okay. And what brought you down here?
A car.
Okay, but besides being the car, I mean, was there a purpose?
Oh, I just liked New Orleans. I came here once and I really liked it.
Okay. And you say, how do you categorize? You have a style? You categorize your style?
It's pop music.
Pop music, okay. But it is all original. He doesn't have a CD yet, nor a website, so if you need any questions about him, you can go through our website and let us know. But you do have some appearances coming up. Tell us about when your next one is.
Yes, on June 19th, on Thursday, I will appear at the Neutral Ground Coffee House at 10 p.m., so you can come see me.
Okay, great. That's our favorite film, Alone Son. And what you can do for your first song?
The first song is called Digging Up Dinosaurs and Putting Them Together Again.
Okay, take it away.
I've been digging in the heart of darkness, and I've been digging in the fate of the world. A little girl curled up in a minecart, and I've been looking for the mother of pearl. Down the chute swell is Chinaman quill, sending letters up the suction house. Dig a tunnel all the way to Copenhagen. Dig a tunnel through the dinosaur bones. Oh, wow, oh, wow, oh, wow. Digging up dinosaurs and putting them together. Oh, wow, oh, wow, oh, wow. I'm digging up the dinosaurs and putting them together again. And I've been digging in the heart of darkness, and I've been digging in the fate of the world. Dry bones in the valley of the shadow, and I've been looking for the mother of pearl. Stick a shovel in the rubble of the ages, write your name in the chalk. Stick a shovel in apple of the ages, digging up the dinosaurs, making them walk. Oh, 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 oh. Digging up dinosaurs, putting them together. Oh, 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 oh. I'm digging up the dinosaurs, putting them together again. Not done, not done, not done.
Dinosaurs are extinct. No, that was Doug Cheetwood, and we haven't had that much excitement in the studio in a long time. So we got to kind of settle it back down and bring you our new restaurant. As we mentioned, this restaurant it's not as old as dinosaurs, but actually was first invented 27 years ago. It opened its doors. So by I guess some restaurant stages, that could be considered a dinosaur. However, it has a new owner, a new chef, who has not only revitalized the restaurant itself, but its menu. So it's a rebirth. We brought the dinosaur back and putting it together again, as Doug just mentioned. And the name of our restaurant is Mimi's, M-I-M-I''S. I happen to know the original owners of the restaurant, and this was named after their mom, who had passed away early on, who was the chef at a previous restaurant. This restaurant is located in adjacent parish called River Ridge on Jefferson Highway in the retail mall part of the Mark Twain Apartments. It's a lovely restaurant. Like I say, we're going to get some pictures up there to show you what it looks like. We're really glad to have it revitalized, and today we don't have the executive chef, but we're going to show you a picture. It's a new feature. When the executive chef is not available because of his requirements at the restaurant, we'll at least bring you a picture of him so you know who actually runs the place, who's providing your food. But we do have the pastry chef, and he does a dynamite job, and we want to welcome Mr. Frank Buddy Graff. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bob.
Good. Well, Buddy, tell us a little bit about how you got involved with David Whitmore is the executive chef. Tell us a little bit how you got involved with David and how y'all decided to take over the restaurant.
Well, David and I, we met at the restaurant, and I was in there eating one night, and we spoke a little bit, and we discussed some things about some of his new ideas he had for the restaurant, and he had mentioned the possibility of doing some pastries and doing some different desserts, and it worked out and we got together.
Great, great. Well, the good thing about this restaurant is that, again, it's in an area where it's not proliferating with restaurants other than fast food places. It's really fine dining, but done at extremely moderate prices. It's really a family-run restaurant. You bring the whole family. The quality of food, though, is far superior to its price. So that's enough of an incentive for you to go there. And long has it drawn people from the neighboring parishes, even though it's a little bit of a drive. So we wish that you certainly will try it again now, because it's a whole new program, and then you'll see it when we go through the menu. Now, Frank, let's talk about, I know y'all are closed on what, Sunday and Monday?
Sundays and Mondays.
So you're dark on those days. You're open for lunch Tuesday through Friday, is that right?
That's correct.
But dinner is Tuesday through what?
Dinner is Tuesday through Saturday.
Through Saturday evening. Okay, great. So again, folks, this is a great time to get out there. Sunday, they take a break, and there's enough other restaurants. Father's Day, you want to be home tomorrow anyway. By the way, this is Flag Day. We don't have much of a decoration other than our U.S. flag that we wear here. But we want to wish everyone out there a happy Flag Day and a great Father's Day weekend that we're celebrating here in New Orleans. Okay, without further ado, then we're going to go ahead and start talking about the menu, and hopefully we can get some pictures up there. Our first thing, we want to always start at appetizers, and we want to do, one of the things that David did do was retain one of the signature dishes. It's served both as an entree, but most people do find it in the appetizer section. We had a nice enough to sample it the other night. It's called oysters and meat. You notice, let's talk a little bit about the decor before we go into it. While we're getting up our pictures, notice that it's got a great mural on one wall, and you're looking at now, which a lot of chefs, including pastry chefs, all done on the walls, and in fact on the other walls are caricatures of different chefs. So it's really a great motif, very casual, Nice tile floors, a lot of wood use, beautiful front windows along one of the rows of the tables. A really, really comfortable setting. So if we move along through the restaurant pictures, then hopefully, and I said it does hold about 70 or 80. Reservations aren't required, but again, because there aren't a lot of restaurants out there, I would certainly think on a Friday and Saturday night, it wouldn't hurt to give them a call just to see how business is. And with that size, they should be able to turn over most places for you, so it should not be a long of a wait if it is a wait. We're going to go ahead and move along, and like I say, hopefully we'll see some more pictures. And there we go. Okay, this, folks, are our appetizers. We're going to start with the appetizer, Oysters Mimi. That is the largest dish. If you look, it's down on the left in the actual served in its own stainless steel container. Tell us a little about Oysters Mimi, how it's prepared. A beautiful dish.
Well, Bob, we take Louisiana oysters, of course, and we mix them with some Italian-style breadcrumbs and some Romano cheese and some olive oil and some garlic and a little bit of bacon, and we put them into the casserole dish and get them baked up for you.
Okay, and serve with a little dash of lemon on top.
Yeah, it's
really very, very tasty. And I can see where people would like this as an entree as well. But I think it's an excellent way to start, and it's enough for you and more than one diner to share. That's what's neat. So it's a great appetizer to share, to taste on some bread or some other toast points, something like that.
Absolutely.
Now, on that same dish, if Director will bring it back, we also had your version of the barbecue shrimp. Tell us, and it was definitely a little different, delicious. It's based on some of the standard traditions, but I know it's a little different. Tell us a little bit about your barbecue shrimp.
Our barbecue shrimp is done with, with fresh shrimp and olive oil and barbecue seasonings that we make ourselves. Actually, we have our own blend that we blend together that we use to give it that classic red color. The shrimp are sauteed off and looked into the frying pan, and they saute them off and get the butter and olive oil going. And then next thing you know, we add the seasonings and it comes together.
Right. It's not enough to be way away from the original recipe, but it's close enough to it, but with enough of a distinctive difference to really make it worthwhile. And lastly, we want to talk about on the things was actually an appetizer of the day. But I hope you serve this often. I understand they do. And it's actually called fried green tomatoes. I know it was in the base, but it's a Napoleon. Tell us a little bit about it, please.
Correct. It's a fried green tomato Napoleon.
Great tomatoes, nice and crispy. Then you can barely see those peeking out in the second and third layer.
Correct. And then we take shrimp and put it in a smoked Gouda cream sauce. Then ladle it on top of the first base. Okay. Then we put the second base tomato on top, ladle some more, and then build it from there and make a classic Napoleon, which is an upright. The structure of the Napoleon, different layers, and correct.
And then the good Gouda cheese melted on it. So really delicious, folks. I think you'll really want to try that one. Now there's two others we're just going to briefly go over. He has a big selection of appetizers besides doing an appetizer du jour, but I want to just touch base on your mixed grill sausages, because that's one of my, I didn't get a chance to try it the other night, but truly that's one of my favorites, is to have the rotisserie or the mixed grills.
Yeah, the mixed grill sausages we have a crawfish, an alligator, and a shrimp that we grill on the grill and serve it with a remoulade and also a Creole mustard. And one way that we do the sausages is we cut them at a certain angle so the patrons can know which ones they're eating.
To distinguish, huh?
That's correct.
And what kind of sauces do you serve them with?
We serve them with a classic remoulade, and we also serve a honey mustard with it, a Creole mustard with it.
Creole mustard. Okay, great for dipping. So we'll have to try that next time.
Absolutely.
And one other thing that caught our eye, because again, a lot of people like either shrimp and artichoke dip, but a pesto bread. A lot of breads are being served today, kind of fancy bread. So again, we didn't try, but tell us just briefly a little bit about your pesto bread.
Our pesto was made in house. It's made the traditional pine nut pesto with the Parmesan cheese and on that line. It's mixed together. Then we paint the bread with it, roast it in the oven until it gets good and crispy with some...
What type of bread you serving it on?
On like a French baguette.
Baguette?
We slice it, and then we put the Romano cheese and some more of the fresh mozzarella cheese on it and bake it in the oven.
Well, that sounds like, again, a great one to share with the other diners, so that would be a great starter. Again, folks, they have about 6 more standardly on the menu, and they do an appetizer per day. So you should really have no problem finding something to start with. But let's go ahead and move on, because we do have a lot of items to cover. After our appetizers, we were able to sample a couple of your soups. Again, they do a soup du jour, and I believe they do a gumbo du jour. And we had one of each. I think the shrimp was a corn. I think, let's see, was that the gumbo there? Looks like that might be the gumbo, huh?
Yes.
All right, let's talk a little bit about that gumbo. That I think it was a chicken and smoked sausage?
Correct. The chicken smoked sausage gumbo. We make the traditional gumbo, but we tweak it a little bit, and we add a little okra to it.
Okay.
That helps to thicken it, give it some body, give it some depth.
But I didn't
of flavor.
notice, you see, I'm not a fan of okra when it gets slimy. I know some people like it anyway.
Right.
But I didn't taste any of the slime at all, so that was great.
Correct. We bake it off a little bit before we put it in. It gets rid of that slime.
Excellent. Well, that's great, because I think for those who don't like okra, I know that's usually the main objection is the slime. So if you fry it or bake the okra before,
bake it off a little bit.
It'll seal it up and then release it. But the other soup was superb. It was a corn and crab. Was it a bisque or a chowder?
It is a bisque, a cream-based bisque.
Okay. And talk a little bit about that, please.
Well, we take our crab meat and our shrimp, and we make a traditional bisque. Add a little cream to it. It uses different flavors and different bell peppers and onions, and it gives us some of the creaminess when we add the cream to it.
We're showing you on the thing. It was a beautiful presentation, lovely Art Deco plates, really good seasoning. I think really something you should try, folks. I really enjoyed this one. The gumbo is always my favorites, but I think this one really topped it. Okay, now, and again, so every day there's a different soup and a different gumbo, so you have your choice there. Now, salads, we didn't get a chance to try the salads because, again, we had so much to eat, so many appetite, but let's quickly, he just has some standard. You have a Caesar, and you can do that with shrimp or chicken, and you do a house salad. And how about this? Well, the one I really I'd like to try, are you still doing this tomatoes and fresh mozzarella?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that, because that has always been traditionally my favorite
It's
salad.
usually called the caprese salad.
Caprese, right.
And we use the fresh Roma tomatoes and fresh skim milk mozzarella. We slice it, add some olives and some onions, and we serve it, accordingly on a plate. Garnish it up.
Sounds great. It really sounds great. Again, folks, some people eat salads with it. And I know you serve, we didn't talk about with the entrees. Does house salad come with it?
Yes.
Yes. So, again, we didn't try the house salad, but if you are a salad person instead of a soup, I would certainly try the tomatoes and the mozzarella salad, because it really sounds good. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and move into our entrees. We were able to sample 3 the other night, really nice. And again, they split up. Again, predominantly this has always been an Italian restaurant, so they've kept a lot of Italian favorites and put some new ones on it. But it's also a seafood in New Orleans restaurant as well. So we're going to try and hit something from each one. And they have a lot of specials, as we mention, every day. And so I think the first one we want to talk about, if our director can get our picture up, is, I believe it was a pané de veal.
Pané de veal.
Oh, I was telling you folks, tell us how this was served. What else was on it?
Well, we used the pané de veal. In this particular case, we used a multicolor bell pepper coulis.
There you go, folks. You can see it there. First, I want to tell you that this is some of the thinnest pané de veal I've ever tasted. It's so delightfully thin that it will melt in your mouth. It's something that you really cannot believe how delicate it is. The crust, again, the batter is very, very light, very, very light, and really is one of the best I've had in a long time. But look at the presentation there. We're talking about the tricolor coulis. You can see the 3 colors of that. Tell us, how does that come about?
Well, the coulis is made by the essence of we roast the bell peppers, peel them, add some olive oil, some garlic, and different spices to them. Then they're put through a prune processor, and then we strain them out to get the coulis. Mm-hmm. We've used red, orange, and yellow bell peppers. We pound our veal out, season it with breadcrumbs, deep fry it, and then place it on a plate. I'm pretty sure it had the roasted garlic mashed potatoes, which is one of our regular dishes.
Oh, yeah.
We roast the garlic and make the mashed potatoes, and it also had a corn mock chew with it.
Yes, and that was, folks, there you can see it. The roasted potatoes, of course, done in little pinwheels, which is just a cute little effect. Tastes divine. But the most important thing there is up at the top, you can see the corn mock chew, which is, for those who don't know what mock chew is, let's give a little more details.
Well,
please.
And that's something that I wanted to bring up too, is that it blends the Italian and the Creole
correct
influences that we have at the restaurant to show that we're very eclectic with that. But the mock chew is corn is cut off the cob, and it's cooked down with vegetables and seasonings, and it's creamed till it gets pretty thick, and then it's placed on the plate.
Beautiful. A little sweetness, but not heavy sweet. Very, very delicate, very fine, and what a great blend with both the potatoes and the veal. You're talking about a dish that sounds like when people think of pané veal, they really think of heavy.
Correct.
Because they're talking about the heavy batter, even though the veal is usually thin. Quite the opposite here. You're eating every dish, even the potatoes are very, very light. So I'm telling you, this is something that really would be enjoyable for any dish, and it was certainly my favorite of the evening. Now we did do another, and this was, my second favorite. It was really a tough battle. Everyone, of course, eats chicken, and everybody has chicken. But a true roasted chicken, an oven roasted chicken, is something that is really the best. As long as they can, of course, the big key with roasting chicken is not to dry it out. And folks, I want to tell you, this was the moistest chicken I've ever had. So tell it beautifully decorated and with some great seasonings in it. Tell us how you do that, please.
That's the chicken grande. The chicken grande is a pan-seared chicken that we add different spices to. We have rosemary and garlic and onions and things on that line. And then we cook it all together and we fry it off in a skillet. And then it's finished in the oven. We roast it in the oven until it's good and done. And that's what keeps it nice and moist.
Almonds or something in it, sliced slivers. It might have been the onion slivers, but it was really delicious. But folks, I'm talking about melt in your mouth, just barely. You need the fork just for etiquette purposes. It comes off so easily. Super, super moist. And what a great combination he serves. Again, I think we had the potatoes on the side. Was that right?
Correct.
But really were the wax beans. This was phenomenal. Tell us, a lot of people don't use those, but these were beautifully done and just a great, not heavy, just a great blend to it. Tell us what you do with the wax beans, please.
The string beans are blanched. That gives the color.
Right.
We roast them and then we put them in a little ice water to keep the color.
Keep the color, right.
Then they're, again, pan sauteed in with some onions and olive and garlic and just to keep them real nice and
crisp. Served whole, which is such a key to me, as opposed to slicing and dicing them.
Absolutely.
I think the important to keep that flavor is, and also the look, to serve them all. So, folks, look how colorful that is. Really a tremendous dish. So I'm telling you, you'd be hard-pressed to choose between either one of these two, and still we have lots more on the menu. So let's go ahead and hit our third item, and we should have a picture of that. And let's see. Oh, this was one of the catch of the day, I believe.
Right.
You took a speckled trout. Well, tell us about it. How you prepared it, and hopefully we'll have it on the screen.
It was a speckled trout.
There
that
it is.
We
beautiful whole filet of speckled trout.
Right. I'm pretty sure it was almond crusted. And we deep fried it. And then we did a citrus beurre blanc, which is an emulsified citrus sauce that we make with oranges, lemons, and limes. Great citrus flavor. You can tell the combination of it's not just an orange flavor, both the limes and the scent. A beautiful presentation. I don't know if you noticed the giant asparagus spears coming out the top as a crown. And then hopefully if the director comes back, a really nice touch was the roasted onion. Actually, it's a rosemary roasted potato.
Roasted potato, I'm sorry. Looked like an onion, but I remembered it was a potato, and with rosemary. Rosemary is such a great herb on it. So, again, we're talking about three things, and I'm not a big fan of fried food, but very, very lightly fried. The batter looks heavy, but it's very, very light. It's something that's really good here that they've done. So it's not a heavy, heavy, greasy batter. And again, beautifully presented with that light cream sauce. Now, again, they have a lot more of Italian dishes, a lot more seafood dishes. We do want to touch base a little bit on, because we do have a lot of vegetarians in our audience, and everybody has something. But you specifically have, it's not an accommodation, you actually have a pasta dish. You call it Pasta Glory. That is designed for the vegetarian. Tell us a little bit about that, please.
The Pasta Glory is real popular. It's actually was named after one of our customers that was more of a vegetarian, and it's eggplant and bell peppers and onions and different spices and basil and fresh herbs, and we again pan saute that together. And then it's served with penne pasta usually, or they can have angel hair if they like. Okay. And it's served with that and makes a nice pasta dish.
It sounds like. And then again, what's neat about it is they're very accommodating. For those who would like what it sounds or looks from what he said, you can also, but are not a vegetarian, you can doctor it up by adding either chicken or shrimp, something like that.
That's correct.
So that's what's good about this dish. It's a great base to work from, to put a fish or a fowl to add as an ingredient. And of course, like I said, there's seafood platters. There's a lot more stuff here. Let's see if we can. But of course, we always want to touch. Everybody has to have a steak, and we have several on the menu. and they want to brag about their prime filet mignon, although I'm going to also talk about the other one after we finish. But tell us about your prime filet mignon, please.
We have prime filet mignons. We get our own tenderloins. We clean them ourselves and cut them individually. They're all hand cut one at a time and served to order. We grill them on the grill, usually serve them with mushrooms and again a roasted potato, and we serve them up like that.
Okay, and it is prime filet, folks. That's a big deal.
Absolutely.
But I also know that you can, for those, more and more people are crusting their meats or their steaks, are also saucing. And I know you have an additional optional sauce for that.
Correct.
What is that?
We have several of them, actually. We have different sauces each night.
Tell us a few.
Our most popular one is the shrimp and crab meat, seafood sauce as we call it.
Okay.
Again, that's a cream-based sauce with the sauteed crab meat and shallots and onions and garlic. And we place it on top of the filet. We can nappe it with that. We do a meuniere sauce on top of the filet also from occasions, a crawfish meuniere, things on that line. So whatever sauces we have available, that will be available if it fits.
Okay. But my particular favorite, and again, we didn't get a chance to try it the other night, but again, using prime beef, this is the best for this, is tournedos. Tournedos de boeuf, as they say in French. Tell us about your prime beef tournedos, please.
Same tenderloin of beef. We cut them individually into tornadoes, usually about 3 ounces a piece.
Right.
Again,
for people who don't know, those are cubes or blocks, however you want to call
slices, exactly. Again, we grill them on a grill to whatever doneness they like. And it's usually served with either we have a risotto at times, or we have an orzo, a vegetable orzo, or a mushroom risotto that we can serve it with, and again with the different sauces.
Okay, well that's good. But let's pick a few more because we have a little more time. So let's pick a few more of the appetizers. The entree, so the people will see the variety of it. I know you've got a lot of chicken dishes, a lot of eggplant, a lot of veal dishes. In addition to, like I say, one I was raving about, the veal grande, you do a piccata and also a melanzane. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the difference between those two for people who don't know. So, again, veal is such a fine meat, and I think it's well worth to mention. If they do as well with these other two as they do with the grande, it would be well worth to have a variety and try all three. So tell us a little bit about your piccata and your melanzane.
Our veal piccata is a traditional piccata. It's a lemon and caper-based sauce. We take the veal, again, we pound it out to where it's good and thin, bread it with a little seasoned flour, saute it in the pan, add some butter and lemon and capers to it, and it cooks down. We serve it over pasta, again with the capers in the traditional way.
He does a veal parmesan, which of course we all know about that. But the melanzane, what is the melanzane? That might be a little unusual for most folks.
It is. The melanzane is a little unusual, and it's something that we've been doing here lately. It's a piece of pan-fried veal. Then we take the fried eggplant. We take the eggplant sticks that we traditionally have and cut those into cubes and place them on top of the veal, along with some red sauce and some mozzarella cheese, and we bake it in the oven to kind of bind them all together. Serve it with red pasta. It comes out really good.
It really does sound so. That would really Parmesan is usually the heavy one and usually the one that's all the layers. But that sounds excellent.
Good deal.
Okay, let's see what else. I know you do some other seafood dishes, so let's pick a couple of seafood dishes here. Well, we talked about the oyster mimi, which we said, of course, can be done as both the entree or the appetizer. We've also talked about the barbecue shrimp. We didn't mention that, but you serve that over pasta, or what do you serve that with?
The barbecue shrimp?
Yeah.
Actually, if it serves an entree, we use the roasted garlic mashed potatoes. We pipe them in with a pastry bag in the center, then serve around it.
Excellent, excellent. Well, again, those appetizers can be served as an entree. The catch of the day we talked about today already, but you also do both a seafood au gratin and a crab meat au gratin. What's the difference there?
The seafood au gratin that we use, it has shrimp, crawfish, and crab meat in it. The crab meat is just strictly crab meat.
Okay.
The seafood au gratin is something that we've been working on lately. It's a mixture of all the seafoods with our au gratin sauce, and it really pairs well.
Great. Now let's go a little bit over to the pasta dishes because you've got a lot. Again, we talked about the wonderful vegetarian one, pasta glory, and how you can doctor that up with shrimp or chicken. You get the standard. You got to have your pasta with Italian sausage, with meatballs, Alfredo, or red sauce or bordelaise. So those are all just standard, folks. And the price is unbelievable. But you do a couple of others that I really would like to talk and spend a little time on. You do this one called Sicilian scattered sausage. Now that's, again, something that's unusual. So let's tell about that and be a little more detail on that, please.
Sure. That's along the lines of the pasta glory in that same concept. We take the fresh Italian sausage and onions and bell peppers and all the seasonings and spices, and we saute that out, add some red sauce to it, along with some penne pasta, and then that's served.
Well, why do we call it scattered, Sicilian scattered sausage for the audience?
Because it's all the different scattered spices and ingredients that we use for it.
Okay.
And it's scattered across the plate.
All right.
It's a little fun concept we have.
Okay. All right, and then of course you do a shrimp and pesto cream sauce pasta. Let's tell them a little bit about that, because that sounds good, just like you do the pesto bread. So tell us about that.
We take our fresh made pesto that we have with a traditional pine nut pesto. We make that, then we saute some shrimp in some butter and olive oil, add the pesto to it, cream it, and then that's served over penne pasta also.
Right. Folks, I hope you heard he said pine nuts, or pinnas as they call them in Italian. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but to me, it's one of the best. Once you've eaten, I love it in a briciolone dish, but I mean in any kind of a gravy sauce. It's great in salads. Pine nuts are just basic little, very tiny little elliptical shaped nuts that usually should be roasted, slightly roasted, and once they're put into a sauce, they're so easy to eat. They're so tender, it's unbelievable. They're not like a traditional nut that's give you a lot of crunch. There's very little crunch in it, but a great flavor, and it does wonders in pesto sauce, or like I say, a salad, or any of the other red sauces. So I'm glad to see you use it. It's something definitely we need to try. And of course, you also do a lasagna dish. You call it lasagna pasta bolognese. So let's talk about that, because lasagna is always a traditional favorite.
Right. Our lasagna is not a baked lasagna. We have a lasagna that's done as a pasta dish. We have, again, the pasta noodles. We have all the ingredients of pasta, the ricotta cheese and the mozzarella cheese and Romano cheese, but it's made as a pasta dish itself. Again, the meat or the veal that we use for the dish is sauteed off along with the different spices and seasonings, and then we add as it gets closer, we add the red gravy to it, the red sauce to it, add the already blanched noodles and the ricotta cheese, and it all binds together to come up with a pasta dish. And it's just like lasagna, only it's in a bowl. Great.
Okay, now we'll just go over a couple more before we'll be taking a break for us to go back to our musical guest. And again, I think this is important because it emphasizes the New Orleans tradition in this restaurant, and especially being away from some of the other seafood restaurants. Closer in, for those who are natives, they know that there's a traditional place called Bucktown where all the fried seafood dishes are created, and just every restaurant serves it, and that's really their standard fare. That's where you go strictly for that. But at the same time, it's also the fried seafood has become known in many of our fine restaurants. And because we're out so distant out there, even though we're doing a lot of Italian specialties, they also have a couple of seafood platters. And let's talk about the ones you have, because again, even though it wouldn't normally be associated with Italian, it's something that is certainly New Orleans, and certainly for that community to have something where they don't have to go a distance to the restaurant.
Right.
Restaurant.
That's more of our Creole traditional side. Us being the neighborhood restaurant that we are, we're a neighborhood restaurant, but we don't think like a neighborhood restaurant. We want the people that are our regular customers to have a variety of seafoods and a variety of things that they do. Mm-hmm. Our seafood platters and fried seafood, we have the traditional oyster plates and shrimp plates and seafood platters. Our seafood platter has a large shrimp ball, as we call it. It's a shrimp stuffing that we mound up and make into a patty and serve that on it too, along with oysters and shrimp and catfish. And we also have our own homemade French fries. We don't use a traditional boxed French fries. We cut our own French fries from scratch.
Great. Okay, then one last thing, and this, of course, we talked about the oven roasted chicken, which I said was superb here. And there's a chicken parmesan. There's a couple of chicken Italian dishes. There's also fried chicken.
Correct.
And again, this is one of the things, just like hamburgers, that in the old days was traditionally on every menu, and you loved it. Even though you could do it at home, it was something you went to the restaurant for and really enjoyed. Well, finally, these things are coming back and getting back to the recognition of a fine dining restaurant, that there's no problem with doing fried chicken if it's done the right way. So tell us whatever you'd like to tell us about the fried chicken.
Actually, the fried chicken is kind of it's a funny subject, actually, because we have several people that come to the restaurant just for the fried chicken. They use again, it's all fresh cut chicken. We slice it up in the appropriate quarters. It's fried it's seasoned and battered and fried into a seasoned batter, deep fried and served with either potato salad, French fries, or whatever you like.
Great, great. Well, folks, we've been talking to Frank Bubby Graff, who's the pastry chef of Mimi's, a revitalization of almost a 30-year, 3-decade restaurant that specializes in Italian food, seafood, and basically just good old New Orleans food. We really enjoyed, like I say, they are out in River Ridge. We really didn't post our numbers up. Maybe that's why we haven't got any callers today. We usually get callers on our live shows to try and ask some questions of the chef. But again, this is a large restaurant, a suburban restaurant, but done with the fine dining taste, but also at the price level of a family restaurant. So you're mixing quality with really phenomenal prices, and that's the important thing. It's well worth for you coming from a neighboring parish to take a nice little leisurely drive out there and right by the river and go ahead and enjoy yourself for an evening, lunch or dinner. Now, it's about time we want to go ahead back to that illustrious musical guest by the name of Doug Cheetwood. He's going to do our second song for us this afternoon. Doug, what's going to be your next version?
This song is called Space Heater.
Can you just go into fade?
Space heater, move a little closer to me, move a little closer to me. You know how to make me blush. Space heater, move a little closer to me, move a little nearer to me. You know how to make me blush. And it feels like a toaster oven in here. Feels like a toaster oven in here. It feels like a toaster oven in here. Parking meter. Space heater, you're an undercover agent. You're an undercover agent. You know all my secrets now. And it feels like a toaster oven in here. Feels like a toaster oven in here. Feels like a toaster oven. Feels like a baker's dozen in there. Feels like a baker's dozen in there. It feels like a baker's dozen in here. And we aren't exactly morning
Very nice. We've gone from raucous to just really melodic, huh? That's Doug Cheetwood, and he'll be back with us at the end of the show to close out. So we'll anxiously await to see what kind of tempo that third song will be. Okay, again, we're at Restaurant Review. Today's featured restaurant, Mimi's, in River Ridge on Jefferson Parish, out on the Jefferson Highway in the Mark Twain Apartments. And we have the pastry chef with us by the name of Frank Bubby Graff, who now we really, even though he's been talking out of turn, he's really been talking about dishes that he helps prepare, but really is not the signature, the creator of the dish, belonging to the executive. But now we're going to get into his true ballywick. He is the pastry chef, so these are his creations, and I'm telling folks, he really is creative. So hopefully we'll get our last picture. We're going to talk about, or at least we're going to picture 3 of the desserts we tried the other night, and then maybe if we have time, go through some of the others. So if our director will go ahead and get that picture up, we're going to go ahead and talk about the very first one. Is one of my favorites. I learned about this particular dish many, many years ago. Some friends of ours created it who were graduates of a well-known but now long defunct small restaurant catering school. And it's called peanut butter pie. And so now a lot of people try and emulate it. And I'm telling you here, Frank, you've done a great job of taking it beyond the pristine thing that I know was peanut butter pie to a new level. So tell us a little about it. And again, hopefully we'll get that picture up so folks, you can really see what it looks like.
Well, thanks, Bob. Peanut butter pie is also one of my favorites also.
There it is. Folks, excuse me for interrupting, Frank.
That's all right.
You notice that's the one on your right, now on the right side of your dish. Yeah, go ahead. And a beautiful wedge and beautifully presented.
Thanks. Peanut butter pie is one of my favorites, along with the other desserts that we sell. But this particular one has a straight peanut butter base.
Right.
It's mixed with different condensed milks and some whole milk and things on that line, vanilla, other different ingredients with it. Then it's whipped into a stabilized whipped cream, which is something that we use at the restaurant. It's not just a regular, I guess, bargain, brand of Cool Whip or something like that.
Sure.
You have to have something that will stabilize, that will maintain its shape, because instead of putting into a regular graham cracker crust or a cookie crust, we put it inside of a cheesecake springform pan, which gives it the height.
There it is. Because usually peanut butter pie is usually much lower than this.
Correct.
So this brings it to the full length of a layer cake. And then, of course, your chocolate icing on top. What is that chocolate icing?
That's a ganache, and what we do is we put a layer. I put half of the mixture in, put a layer of ganache, then put the rest of the peanut butter mixture on top of that,
and then drizzle that chocolate
drizzle
syrup
up on top.
Beautiful.
Right.
I'm telling you, to really, the person I was dining with said, this is like having the best Reese's peanut butter. I mean, this is, one of the best flavors. The chocolate and the peanut butter flavor together was tremendous. So, folks, Frank needs to be congratulated. And again, if you're a chocoholic like I am and also like the taste of peanut butter, extremely creamy, very light, but a wonderful chocolate. So it's, even though it's a dessert, it's not heavy. And so it's definitely something you want to recommend to yourself or your other diners. Now, again, next to it on the other side of the mirror imaging is your cheesecake. Let's talk a little bit about that.
That's a typical New York style vanilla cheesecake. We make it with bulk cream cheese along with some vanilla flavor and then vanilla beans that we steep inside of the cream to give it the vanilla flavor. It's baked, and then we serve it in wedges and served it with the accompanying sauces. We have mango, raspberry, and then with chocolate, whatever sauce that we have it on special.
Great. Now, folks, we saved the best for last. Even though I tell you that peanut butter pie was creme brulee, which of course is a New Orleans standard. Here is really brought to new levels. And again, if we'll bring that picture back up, we'll show you. First, Dunn, just tell us about the ingredient, then I'll make my comments after you, please.
Okay.
Beautifully presented.
Again, a traditional French custard made with vanilla beans and heavy cream, and believe me, it's not for the diet conscious. It's very rich. Again, it's baked into a water bath into the ramekins that we have.
Right.
And then at the end, right before it's served, we take a raw turbano sugar, which is a raw brown sugar.
Brown turbano, right.
Laid on top, and then we take a blowtorch, culinary blowtorch, and we blowtorch it out.
Exactly.
And gives it that caramelized finish.
And folks, I have to interrupt him because, again, usually creme brulee ramekins they're wonderful, but they're very shallow little plates. This one is so deep, it's unbelievable. So it is certainly the most I've ever had of creme brulee. At the same time, it was so light, you kept eating and eating and never filling up. Now, the other nice little things, I don't know if you caught those little accompaniments on top besides the little spring leaf, but were the, I call them macaroons, but I know they're not macaroons. They were white chocolate, something.
It's a white dark chocolate meringue star.
Star, okay.
That's what it was.
Beautiful accompaniment, but again, light, just giving it a little touch. Okay, so that's just some. Do you do any other desserts and all of those?
We have a few different things. We have different ices and different ice creams. Right now, we have a Nucello ice cream that I had made, and also a peppermint ice cream.
Great.
We do.
Well, great. So that'll be nice for the summer. That's great to bring in a little bit of the colder stuff. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about. Now we've gone through desserts, but let's talk about a little about beverages. I know you have a full bar, beautifully accompanied bar, separate from the restaurant, so it's not sitting out there in the middle. Beautifully divided, and great people to either start off before you move to your dinner table, or just to be there for your liquid refreshments. So I know you have a great bartender doing all the regular traditional mixed drinks, but let's talk a little bit about your wine philosophy, David's wine philosophy.
Exactly, and he is just so up on this, so tremendous with this. David is very into the wines. He travels with the wines. He researches it. He has a palate that I haven't seen lately, actually. He's really good with it. We are constantly changing our wine list. He's always updating. He goes to wine tastings, wine classes, and it's extensive. We have everything from, the basic wines that everybody loves to all the way up to, whatever high you want to go.
Yeah, so you really are trying to be all-encompassing.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, that's great because, again, everyone has a different philosophy, but the important thing is that, if you have that many different choices and opportunities for your budget, that's going to be great for you.
Everybody has different palates.
That's exactly right, and also different expenditures. Because, again, wine, as you know, can be, even though it's almost a necessity today,
that's right.
At the same time, some of the wines can be more expensive than your food, and many times that's kind of disproportionate. So you really got to work within your budget, but it's good to have a variety at all levels.
And you want it to accompany what you have, too. You want to make sure that it accentuates the food that you're serving.
Okay. Now, we want to talk a little bit more with Frank. I know there's a couple of things y'all do as specials to, again, to get yourself known for the people who haven't heard about you. But, again, they're not doing it for that because you're planning to keep it for a while. And both are very innovative. Let's talk about those two things you do during the week to try and get the trade in at night.
On Wednesday nights, we have a single malt scotches. A single malt scotch on Wednesday we have them discounted, and on Thursday nights we do a discount off the bottles of wine in the place on Thursday nights.
So you're giving for the in-house wines, you're giving them a discount to lure them in.
That's correct. Off the bottle.
Off the bottle, right. Well, that's great, folks. So there you go with regard to that. Again, we've been speaking to Frank Bubby Graff, who's the pastry chef at our featured restaurant Mimi's. David Whitmore is the executive chef. And it's out there in River Ridge in the Mark Twain Apartments. A little bit of a drive for us in the main part of the city, but not too distant by any means. And certainly a great asset for the community out there because, again, it's almost bordering on the rural as you get a little further down there. So it's certainly nice to have a fine dining restaurant that the natives and the people in the neighborhoods can go to. But again, one that's within all price ranges. So this is not something to deter you at all. Now, in addition to this, we want to talk a little bit about, we haven't mentioned a little bit about lunches. Now, again, we've been featuring maybe a lot of the dinner items. That's what we work off of. But at the same time, I know some of these dinner items are also featured on lunch. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Tell us anything else about lunches that are different other than, and maybe perhaps at a different price range,
sure.
I'm not sure. But what other type things would you do at lunch besides some of the things that several of the things besides the things we've done tonight, talked about today?
Well, at lunch, of course, we gear it to the working public, where they need to get in and get out. Obviously not as fast as, a dining restaurant, but we try to keep it where, people can eat within their hour. But right. As far as for lunch is concerned, we do some things different. We do have the hamburger steaks and the crusted fishes and the little more upscale things for lunch where some people just don't want fast food. They want something a little bit different for lunch, or they have a party, or they have some type of meeting they want to have. We can accommodate that also. We do, pepper crusted hamburger steaks, meatloaf, with beignet sauces and different things like that. That it makes it a little bit different than lunch.
Okay, but if someone really wanted something off the dinner menu, they could certainly still get it accommodated.
If we have the ingredients available, yeah, we'll certainly accommodate them.
Great. Because, okay, folks. Well, this is a great restaurant, and we're really pleased to have Frank, and we really appreciate him coming out on their busy days. As we mentioned, David Whitmore, the owner and executive chef, is back there at home. Not at home, excuse me, back at his restaurant, getting ready for this evening's traffic. So he's overseeing all the works there, and we really did enjoy ourselves the other night. Remember, it's a nice sized restaurant, but don't hesitate to call and see if you need it on a weekend night or something, see if you need an opportunity to get in there. I think it's well worth your travel. And we're going to go ahead now, and don't forget, next week we got a great restaurant called up in our uptown called Bite Your Tongue. A cute name, great food. We're going to go ahead now and turn it over to our musical guest. We've enjoyed some of his eclectic songs. His name is Doug Cheetwood. And Doug, why don't you tell us, the audience, what you're going to do for your last song?
Okay. This last song is called Winter of Our Discontent. A white rose told me to her face, you shouldn't still be in this place. You should be somewhere on the sea. You shouldn't still be here with me. 'Cause I never said a word. I never promised you a thing. No, I never said a word. I never promised you a thing. You ought to be out on the sea and not still here with me. 'Cause I never said a word. I never promised you a thing. A white rose told me in her sleep, sometimes a secret's all you keep. Sometimes the brambles kiss the stars. Sometimes it isn't in the cards. Hey, I wondered where you were. I woke up and you were gone. Hey, I wondered where you were. I woke up and said so long. I heard a ship's bell ring. It's the winter of our discontent. 'Cause I never said a thing. The ship just came and went. A white rose told me to her face, you shouldn't still be in this place. You should be somewhere on the sea. You shouldn't still be here with me. Thus spoke her Majesty. 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 Thus spoke Her Majesty the Spoker. Her Majesty the Spoker. Her Majesty. I think I have a virus.
Okay, well, thanks very much. That was Doug CHEETWOOD, and we really appreciate him coming. Once again, this is Restaurant Review. We'll be back each Saturday. We mentioned that the next restaurant review we could be doing is Bite Your Tongue. We also have 2 new restaurants coming up. Well, one of them is just opening up. We're waiting for their opening, called Sea Level, which is in the mid-city of our area. And we also want to do one called Lulu's. Lulu's is a restaurant that's been opened in our downtown Central Business District, and it's opened a second edition uptown in our Garden District Hotel. So I think they've been open a couple of weeks, so we're going to be looking to feature them as well. So once again, come back to us at your convenience. We're here every Saturday from 3 to 4. We repeat our shows on Saturday mornings from 3 a.m. to 4 p.m., 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. I'll get it for the hospitality people. And don't forget our website, www.restreview.com. There you can go ahead and send us any information you'd like with regard to appearing on the show, who you'd like to see, any new restaurant in your area coming up, or a new musical talent, or if you'd like to be in the audience like we have today, you're more than welcome to come out and visit and see what goes on behind the scenes. I think we, again, are pleased to do the show for you. If you have any other suggestions, don't hesitate to email us. We've been getting a lot of questions with regard to why we've been off, and I do apologize again, as I did in the beginning, that unfortunately we had some medical problems, so we did get some replays of some of our previous shows. But we want to tell you that also one of the restaurants that we're anxious to reopen, one of the last ones that you've seen maybe on 2 repeats, is Muses. We had a lovely, Victoria was the executive chef, and we're waiting for its opening date as well. So as soon as we get that to you, we will certainly go ahead and go. Okay, again, we're going to see you next week for Restaurant Review. Thanks again.